Hello, this is Krystal, and thank you for joining me for this week's First Chapter Friday. Today I will be reading from the beginning of N.K. Jemisin's The Fifth Season. Prologue. You are here. Let's start with the end of the world. Why don't we? Get it over with and move on to more interesting things. First, a personal ending. There is a thing she will think over and over in the days to come, as she imagines how her son died and tries to make sense of something so innately senseless. She will cover Yuki's broken little body with a blanket, except his face, because he is afraid of the dark. And she will sit beside it numb, and she will pay no attention to the world that is ending outside. The world has already ended within her, and neither ending is for the first time. She's old hat at this by now. What she thinks then and thereafter is, but he was free. And it is her bitter, weary self that answers this almost question every time her bewildered, shocked self manages to produce it. He wasn't. Not really. But now he will be. But you need context. Let's try the ending again. Writ continentally. Here is a land. It is ordinary, as lands go. Mountains and plateaus and canyons and river deltas. The usual. Ordinary, except for its size and its dynamism. It moves a lot, this land. Like an old man lying restlessly abed, it heaves and sighs, puckers and farts, yawns and swallows. Naturally, this land's people have named it the Stillness. It is a land of quiet and bitter irony. The Stillness has had other names. It was once several other lands. It's one vast, unbroken continent at present, but at some point in the future, it will be more than one again. Very soon now, actually. The end begins in a city, the oldest, largest, and most magnificent living city in the world. The city is called Jemisin, and once it was the heart of an empire. It is still the heart of many things, though the empire has wilted somewhat in the years since it first bloomed, as empires do. Jemisin is not unique because of its size. There are many large cities in this part of the world, chain-linked along the equator like a continental girdle. Elsewhere in the world, villages rarely grow into towns, and towns rarely become cities, because all such polities are hard to keep alive when the earth keeps trying to eat them. But Jemisin has been stable for most of its 27 centuries. Jemisin is unique because here alone have human beings dared to build not for safety, not for comfort, not even for beauty, but for bravery. The city's walls are a masterwork of delicate mosaics and embossing detailing its people's long and brutal history. The clumpiness masses of its buildings are punctuated by great high towers, like fingers of stone, hand-wrought lanterns powered by the modern marvel of hydroelectricity, delicately arching bridges woven of glass and audacity, and architectural structures called balconies that are so simple, yet so breathtakingly foolish, that no one has ever built them before in written history. But much of history is unwritten. Remember this. The streets are paved not with easy-to-replace cobbles, but with a smooth, unbroken, and miraculous substance the locals have dubbed asphalt. Even the shanties of Jemisin are daring, because they're just thin-walled shacks that would blow over in a bad windstorm, let alone a shake. Yet they stand, as they have stood, for generations. At the core of the city are many tall buildings, so it is perhaps unsurprising that one of them is larger and more daring than all the rest combined. A massive structure whose base is a star pyramid of precision carved obsidian brick. Pyramids are the most stable architectural form, and this one is pyramids times 5, because why not? And because this is Jemisin, a vast geodesic sphere whose faceted walls resemble translucent amber, sits at the pyramid's apex, seeming to balance there lightly, though in truth, every part of the structure is channeled toward the sole purpose of supporting it. It looks precarious. That is all that matters. The Black Star is where the leaders of the empire meet to do their leaderish things. The Amber Sphere is where they keep their emperor, carefully preserved and perfect. He wanders its golden halls in genteel despair, doing what he is told and dreading the day his masters decide that his daughter makes a better ornament. None of these places or people matter, by the way. I simply point them out for context. But here is a man who will matter a great deal. You can imagine how he looks. For now. You may also imagine what he's thinking. This might be wrong, mere conjecture, but a certain amount of likelihood applies nevertheless. Based on his subsequent actions, there are only a few thoughts that could be in his mind in this moment. And if you would like to know what happens next, you can check this title out on the Libby app. Please join me here next week as I read from Something New Under the Sun by Alexandra Kleeman. Thank you and have a great week.